Hey, good evening, Primo. Hi, Ada.
Good evening, Mia. How are you?
Pretty good. I'm just going to be joining by audio, not by video this evening.
Okay, sounds good. Do you need somebody to take minutes, or are you good on that?
No, I'm good. I got you.
Okay, cool. Hi, Ada. How are you? Also on mute, perhaps. Oh, what a start to the year, huh?
Yeah, 22. Starting off a little.
No mercy, 2022.
No mercy. No mercy in sight, actually.
It has really put us through it.
I'm trying to get over the Diana Richardson announcement.
Oh, I didn't see anything. What's the announcement? Is she leaving?
No,
No.
she's a deputy borough president under Reynoso. He appointed her.
Oh, interesting. And
Yeah.
she was a state senator, right?
Assembly.
Assembly.
Yes, assembly member representing the 43rd.
Yep. So now there's got to be, I think, a special election.
Yes.
And then yeah, I didn't see that one coming, but
Oh, so there's gonna be a special election to replace her seat.
yes.
Interesting. And that just happens kind of like effective immediately. You don't wait for a term or whatever, huh?
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
assuming there'll be a end date that'll be very soon. And
Mhm.
she'll assume her position as deputy BP immediately.
Interesting. Is that like a higher ranking position? It doesn't even sound like it.
Well, she's saying now she's borough wide as opposed to just a section of Brooklyn. But yeah, I was curious about that too. But I think she's a fairly ambitious person, so she wouldn't have taken it if. Yeah, I guess now she's across the entire borough, so it gives her a better platform.
Yeah.
And she's going to be in charge of community boards, as
Okay.
well as that's one of the things he has her overseeing is community boards. Let's see. There's two other things that she's over. Oh, food insecurity and gun violence.
Well, it'll be good that we'll have a friend and
Yeah, somebody that knows us, exactly.
yeah, she seems to think highly of the community board, or at least of this committee. She showed up to a few things here and there and offered her support, so that's nice.
Yeah, well, she used to be a CB9 member, so she knows what it feels like to be a board member. Straight sometimes that you run into, so an understanding of that is good.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I didn't know that.
And Reynoso wants her to try to make the boards more representative of the community. I guess some boards don't represent people at their end in terms of anything from age to sexual orientation to whatever.
I've always thought that CB9 felt pretty representative, but maybe I'm making some assumptions.
It seems to me too, but I guess there's some that just really don't.
Yeah. I'm sure that is the case in some other districts where it has more to do with connectivity than representation. Also, hello, Valerie and Rashida and Linda.
Good night. Good night.
Good evening.
Hello.
Night.
Night. I feel like we've got a group, so we may as well start. Other folks will trickle in probably over time, but I know that it's just a super busy time for everybody and a frantic time, and there's a lot going on. Linda, I'm just gonna mute you for a second. Getting a lot of okay, she muted herself. There's a lot going on in the world right now, and just want to recognize that and take a moment to get a sense of kind of how folks are feeling, because I think the other thing we should be talking about is the viability of hosting an event given the rapid change in circumstances that have occurred between our last meeting and kind of today. But I'd love to start off with maybe just one thing that folks are looking forward to in 2022. Not to be corny, but I could use a little bit of pep about what folks are hopeful about for this year. So anybody want to go first? Just one thing that you're looking forward to in 2022, and then we'll dig into the agenda. There must be some hope out there.
I guess traveling again.
Yeah.
I haven't traveled in a long time. I put it off and put it off. So hopefully in 2022, even if it's just, a short trip, but someplace where I feel, comfortable enough and safe enough to travel.
Yeah. What's on the top of your list in terms of places you'd like to go?
Actually, don't even have any place in particular. Just someplace by the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
And that could be anywhere, because sometimes I go to Maine, and other times, it could be wherever, but just by the ocean. I'm an ocean person.
I hope you get that beach time or that ocean time, whether it's,
Thank you.
Yeah, that's really nice. Anybody else, something that you're looking forward to in 2022? You've lifted my spirits a little bit already, Ada. So.
Well, I do have a trip planned. I'm
jealous.
Going to Grenada in February, so we'll see how this surge pans out. But right now, that's what I'm looking forward to.
That's
finally
great.
Seeing my grandmother in 2 years.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, I do have a trip planned too, to go to Mexico next month. So, and I also been looking forward for this year because I'm a delegate for this major convention for the whole Episcopal Church, and I've been waiting just to go. So we hope that it does come off in Baltimore in July.
Oh, yeah, I'll keep my fingers crossed for you. That sounds like a big deal. And
Yeah.
Congrats on your trip to Mexico next month. That sounds lovely.
Mm-hmm.
I hope you and Rashida bring back some sunshine for the rest of us in New York.
Yeah, really.
Joyce and Talicia, all we're doing is just kind of going around and talking about things we're looking forward to in 2022, given the rough start.
Hi, everybody. I would also say travel, because I've been afraid to book anything. Just COVID canceled a few trips that I had planned that year. I was supposed to go to Italy and at April. And I remember reaching out to my friends hey, so what do you think about this? And they were like, oh, it'll be fine. I know we're still gonna be able to go on the trip. And yeah, so that never happened. So I'm definitely looking forward to traveling, but also connecting with people again. I feel since quarantine, I just got really comfortable with being to myself and just enjoying my own space. So I said this year I'm going to, be better at connecting with those in my life again.
That's good. Yeah, for sure. A little bit of resolution in there, right? As we look to this next year and reflecting on the past year or two. And I hope you get that trip to Italy. I do.
Thank you. I hope so too.
Joyce, how about yourself? Anything that you're looking forward to, particularly in 2022?
Yes, good evening, everyone. I'm looking forward to, the first thing is I'm on track to finish paying off my student loans this year.
Whoa,
so
big thing.
That's huge.
Huge.
And also qualifying for the 2023 New York City Marathon, because you have to qualify the year before. And my goal is to read 30 books this year.
Wow.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
those are my those are my top 3 goals out of my 15 that I wrote down for myself.
They're 15. Joyce, you're putting the rest of us to shame here. We're like, we want to go to a beach. You're like, I'm gonna run the marathon.
I was just in the beach like 2 weeks ago, so that's like, that was great. But yeah,
Oh,
those are my top 3, and I'm really looking forward to
wow.
accomplishing those this year.
Okay, I gotta get my life together. What beach did you go to? Where'd you get to?
My sister lives in a town called Doral. It's right outside of Miami, so she's like 10 minutes away from the beach. So we went to Miami Beach.
Oh,
Great.
beautiful. I love it. Mia, do you want to share anything? I know you're just on.
Sure. I guess I can say I look forward to being able to participate in social events or gatherings without wondering where people have been or asking about COVID testing and all of these other crazy dynamics that are now are in play now when scheduling any type of social interaction, whether it's a basic dinner or just like a basic friends game night. Just a little bit of normalcy.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you. I mean, in some ways, looking at like March of this year and when, kind of we get out of the winter and into spring, I'm like, I just personally wonder if I'm just kind of done with all of the precautions that we have needed to take, granted, if there's not some deadly new variant.
Right. I think I have literally one more, like the threshold for one more mutation before I lose it.
I got like one more season left in me.
I have one more mutation in me. I think that's it before I lose it.
No, that is real. Omicron has been really tough. And first of all, thank you all for sharing that. It's been a tough week. I'd say for me personally, just working in schools, it's been hard. And Talisi, I'm sure you can, second this, but it's just been rough. I think for the level of fear that has existed and, teachers being out and students being out. And it's been a rough start to the year for, I think, lots of families. And obviously that goes outside of schools and touches every single person in our society. And it's just been hard. And I think that it's beautiful that we're kind of coming together here and thinking about the ways that we can support the youth in CB9. The reality is just kind of ever shifting, and the place that we thought we were in early December when we last met is just completely different from the place we're in now in early January. And so much changed, I think, before the holidays and during the holidays. And I think one of the pieces that we might want to start off with today, and I have an agenda for us to talk through. I also sent an email to everybody here with a few materials. But we were going to talk about kind of where we are with the Youth Expo and kind of a plan moving forward, thinking about a budget. I have a little bit of news for you, but not as much news as I would hope. And, I think I'm also wondering in this moment whether moving forward is the path that we want to take for the Youth Expo, just, given the current environment. So I'd be interested to start off with just hearing your thoughts about whether you feel like we're in a position to kind of charge ahead and continue planning this event, or whether we need to take a step back and think about shifting what our execution might look like on this event, or shifting to another type of event altogether. Seeing as we haven't properly gotten anything off the ground, but we're kind of at that decision-making point where we need to figure out if we're going to continue moving this forward or change our plans. So I'd love to hear the thoughts of each of you as to whether, hosting an event in March or April is something that still feels feasible and something that we should pursue.
I'm a little skeptical at this time, only because everywhere I turn, someone's sick.
Mm-hmm.
And with the 2 new mutations that just came out in the last 2 weeks, I'm here like, what next? What's next? So I don't know if there would be, I would propose just pushing it back a little bit.
Yeah.
Just to see what is going on next with all of these regulations. And I mean, even the lines when I go outside and I pass by urgent care, they're like ridiculous. I mean, they were ridiculous before the new year, but they're still that way now. And just for safety purposes, I would pose looking at later dates just to see how things pan out for now.
Yeah, I hear that. I really appreciate that opinion. Thanks for voicing it, Joyce. Other folks, where you at? How you feeling?
I agree with Joyce. I think that pushing it back does make sense. I guess we just need to identify like when would be too late in the year. But I think that pushing it back would be a really good choice to make.
Yeah.
I'd have to agree with that also. It's just this particular variant, it spreads too fast. One person has it, next thing you know, 5 people that were around them have it. Even if they're asymptomatic, it doesn't matter. So I would have to say the same thing.
So I would agree at this point that we may want to postpone or to look at another option for us to be able to support the youth. Right now, this variant seems to be so slippery, and I hear you all traveling and want to travel. I want to travel too, but my hope for this year is, can I go outside without panicking? Like, oh, I forgot my mask. When I feel the air on my face, when I feel, when I'm walking outside the street. And then I have so many doctor friends and they're saying, okay, you got your mask, you got your shield and all of this other stuff. And I was like, okay, medical community, I hear you. But I do think that for our event, for right now, because so much is going on, and it seems like some of the population that we are addressing that's not vaccinated, or those people who have chosen not to be vaccinated, that's, different things are going on. So everyone has their choice to do what they want to do. But I think for right now, because of our situation, it's so dire that we may not want to proceed for just right now.
Thanks, Valerie. And sorry that I skipped your New Year's resolution and what you want to do for 2022, but it sounds like you want to be outside and feel the fresh air on your face without having so much fear. And I appreciate your opinion and hear that. I guess, Linda, how are you feeling?
I feel just as scared as everybody else who spoke before me. But I was just wondering, how what timing we would look at if we want to do this. And I mean, even if we want to do it at a later time, I think it's going to take a lot, because can never be like an open come as you are. It would have to be really monitored, like 5 people or 3 people at the station at a time. So I think if we want to do this year, we really got to look at the logistics of pulling it off. Outside space, big space, stuff like that, registration, that we know how many people are coming, and it's really kind of rough.
Yeah.
I know I volunteer at Brooklyn Park, and that's how we do things. You have to be, it's no more open come as you want to or turn up. It's really, really a rough job nowadays getting the logistics together. As me say, we don't want to open it and then we all take it. And if we're looking to support you, we don't want to kill them.
Yeah. Well, thanks everyone for your input. I would, obviously this is a democratic body, and it seems like the overwhelming majority, everybody, myself included, thinks that now is not the right time to at least be promoting an event that's indoors and is a lot of different people gathering. I'll say, like, The other side of the coin that I'm considering, and we do not know anything obviously at this point, but is that last year we saw a large drop off, and we're basically seeing the same spike that we saw last year, granted with a totally new variant. And we saw a large drop off as we headed into the spring. So things could feel completely different a month from now. This is how things feel now. But right now it seems like it would be tone deaf to start reaching out to vendors and saying, hey, we're going to have an indoor thing. Like, do you want to come? Reaching out to schools and saying, hey, we're going to have an indoor thing. Do you want to come? And so I think that based on everything that you've just shared, my own opinion, the larger kind of public health landscape right now, it feels like it is not the right choice to be promoting an event like this. I think we probably do need to wait and see. Maybe we have to wait a month to see how things get better or don't get better. I think probably by early February, we hopefully will see a shift in the trend of infections and positive test cases. But for us to be pushing for an event in March or April right now feels hard. I think that, and probably wouldn't be well received and is probably not aligned with the best interests of the community. I think that if we were going to do this event, we would probably want to look at moving it into May. Talicia, I'd be interested, you raised this question of when, and a few people raised this question, when is kind of the latest that we could do an event like this? I think there's a question mark around when is too late for new job applications, but there's another side, which is it's always good for kids to get out in front of employers and understand what it takes to get a job. So I'll pose that to the group. Like, do we feel fine, like kind of pushing everything back a month, which is like, we push the event date back into May, we wait a month to see how the COVID trend goes. And then we can also potentially make a call to just moving the whole thing online. We could also move to an outdoor space, I think, if we hosted the event in May. Granted, May is a bit fickle when it comes to weather, but it gives us a better opportunity to host this outdoors. So all of that, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I was thinking May as well, like having that as an option, because then, as you said, we have the outdoor option, and then weather permitted, we'll have better, hopefully, idea of what's going on with the variants and stuff like that. And if we need to do put it indoor because of rain, I think it'll have maybe that accommodation or something like that. But I think, kind of waiting for a month and then going full steam from there, and then back up would be something similar to what we did, the online the Zoom kind of event last year.
Yep.
Yeah, maybe as a backup, so we have something for that, even if it's not like a job fair.
Mm-hmm.
So have we tested the pulse of our vendors to see where they are on this and to see what actual opportunities that they may have? Because maybe we could see if we could collect data to determine whether or not they're going to have at least jobs available, and at least we can get a list together that we can share with our young people to see, what the vendors are really going to do. Do they have jobs? Are they feeling what we're feeling? How are they going to be moving forward with their program for this summer?
Yeah, it's a good question. And so Valerie, I'd say shifting reality, right? Which is that I reached out about a month and a half ago to the vendors from 2019 to see kind of what the temperature was. And the world was completely different then, but they said, yes, we'd be happy to come to an indoor event. And, two people in particular said, we have jobs available, one being not Outward Bound, but the other organization that I always confuse with them, which does summer camps for kids, that kind of thing will definitely be running. And the FDNY, which is always hiring, will have job availability and would be interested in coming to an event. And so we did hear back in the affirmative from a few organizations, but it was before the Omicron variant. So if we wanted to get another temperature, we'd have to kind of reach back out. I would say the other consideration is that jobs are probably a little bit of a question mark because of the same health concern that's causing us to push this event back, which is, I'd say a month ago, everybody would have said, yeah, sure, we're going to have jobs. And then now are probably looking at a slightly less clear answer to that question. And so, you know, one possibility is we do outreach again and see, you know, where vendors are, but we also do have the information from a month ago, which is that vendors would have been interested and had jobs available. So I know that that's a murky answer to your question, but it's kind of the best answer I have at this moment. Hi, Sol, welcome. Sol, just to, and Naomi as well, just to catch you up briefly, you know, we came into this saying the world is very different than it was last time we met about in early December. And we kind of went around and asked the question of, do we feel like it makes sense to proceed with this event being an in-person indoor event in March or April? And I think the overwhelming majority of voices said it would feel a little bit out of touch for us right now to begin promoting an indoor event, given kind of the Omicron variant. And so I think where you find us now is having a conversation about, should we just move the event to May and hold a date in May? And then also wait a month before we start doing any outreach, because doing outreach now is probably the problematic piece, and seeing if, you know, we see a drop from this spike and if public sentiment shifts in the direction of being more comfortable. Or do we move the event to an online space, you know, and kind of hold that as a you know, potential, because we never know, right? Like things are moving so quickly, like things could be great in April and then a new variant pops up and all of a sudden we have to shift to an online space or something. So that's kind of where you find us in this conversation, is really thinking about what a backup plan looks like.
Yeah. I mean, I know for my personal, like, I'm sick of online stuff. Like, I'm like, so having, I guess, whatever fatigue or whatever they call that. I would prefer in person, but at a safer time. So if it was more like waiting to a later date where we can do, because I personally like really am wanting more people interaction, but I know the safety issues, but in hoping that, you know, some of this stuff lets up, you know, I guess maybe having a backup, if something is going on, having a backup virtual plan, I guess would be okay. But, you know, that would be where I'm at.
Yeah, I think you're in the same place as all of us, which is like, we'd prefer to have it in person, and maybe by moving it to May and potentially moving it into an outdoor space, like we get more time outdoor space instead of indoor space, and we increase the probability that we'd be able to pull off this event. But I think where we are right now is people are rightfully afraid of kind of, you know, engaging in large group indoor events, you know, masked, vaccinated, whatever you may have. Like, obviously Omicron doesn't really care. And so, yeah, that's where we are at this moment. Naomi, welcome as well. If there's anything you wanted to add or your opinion, it's always welcome. But I know you may be moving around. Okay, so here's a little bit more information just for you guys, which is, so Flatbush Beacon has probably had a hell of a month and hasn't confirmed a date for us yet, but we have also heard back from the CB9 district office, who has said that they can make funds available for us to host at Major R. Owens if we wanted to, or to continue to host at a school, but we'd have funds available to get tables and kind of get food. So we have kind of an existing $500 budget available to us for the event, which is great. And so thank you to CB9. And I think we can cross the boundary of, do we want to, you know, do an outdoor space? Do we want to do a school? Do we want to do a school's outdoor space? Do we want to do the community center a month from now? But just wanted to make you aware that there are funds available, which give us a little bit more flexibility. So that's something, but it kind of feels like we're shackled a little bit at this moment because we can't move forward, because we can't promote an event. I think probably our next step to determine is like, what's a date in May, or a few dates in May that would work for us and for the youth. So I think that might just be like our best next step at this point. unfortunately. I also shared with everybody a list of vendors you should have in your inbox from 2019. Those are folks that we reached out to and might want to reach back out to. There's also flyers. I think Joyce was the one who stepped up to the plate on the flyers. Obviously, we're not going to be doing any flyers right now, but why don't we talk a little bit about dates in May that we would want to pursue? Because I think that's kind of the only thing we can do right now. I hate to not be able to move forward in the way that we want to, but I think this is kind of just where we are. So if we pull up May, I don't know if anybody here has any suggestions around dates, but I'll pull up the NYC DOE calendar as well and take a look and see if there's anything in May that is really problematic for us, and we'll exclude a few dates, but I still think we were looking at kind of Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday in terms of the best possible days. And then I think as we think about what May looks like from a weather perspective, this may end up being kind of more of a mid-May situation because it can be cold in the beginning of May, but it's still possible. So the only day that I'm seeing on the calendar is Monday, May 2nd, schools are closed, and May 30th, schools are closed. So those are kind of the only 2 days that seem like they're really unavailable for us. Otherwise, the rest of the month is open. Delicia, is there anything that we should consider with the school calendar in May?
Other than those 2 dates, I don't think so.
Okay. Obviously, May 30th is close to the end of the school year, and that might be a little trickier. Students prepare for finals or whatever and get a little bit more crazy at the end of the school year. But if we look at the first, are there any preferences between like first, second, third week of May? Any opinions as to what's better or worse?
I would say the earlier, the better, only, just in case like whatever might happen, it could be a weather issue, then we at least have time to push it back a little bit without it being too late.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. All right. So in that case, I'll reach out to the folks at Flatbush Beacon and let them know we're holding on these kind of March, April dates, given the circumstances. We'd like to look at May. In terms of outdoor spaces, are there any outdoor spaces that occur to folks as being conducive to pulling off an event like this? I still personally would love to host it at a school so we get access to those students and we can get them to the event. But anything else that folks want us to consider in terms of an outdoor space for May?
I mean, didn't the Beacon Center, I think they said they did something outdoors, and I mean, that's still a good location because if they have like the area by the basketball court and then also in the area in the front, and I think that's where they do their outdoor stuff. So I mean, that we can still see if they're available, because best case, if we do it outdoor and then we have to push it indoor because of weather or something, there's still an option there.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's a really good point. Any other outdoor spaces or indoor outdoor flex spaces that occur to folks? Valerie, does the MRO have outdoor spaces?
No, we don't have outdoor spaces. Our events that we had to close the street off when we had our back to school event. So there's no real outdoor space at this point.
Got it. Street fair sounds kind of fun, but it also sounds like a lot of work. All right. So it sounds like we should probably pursue Flatbush Beacon as our first option still, and getting access to their outdoor spaces. Someone also recommended to me from the district office, MS2, but that's a middle school. And so we don't get the same representation of students because the students are younger. So that feels like less of a primary option to me than Flatbush Beacon does. So I'll reach back out to Flatbush Beacon and ask, if an outdoor space in May is viable. And we can keep Major RONs on the back burner since we have some money available there. Although, frankly, the response around the cost, I think rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. Also on the community board's executive team, just so y'all know, when I shared that information with them, they were pretty disappointed that a community center is charging the community board to host a youth event. It may be something that we circle back with them on, but
Right,
sorry.
you may want to circle back with them because I mentioned it to them
Yeah.
about the cost, and they said that there may be some flexibility, if you might reach back out or circle back to them
Okay.
for a further reduction of a rate.
They're gonna need to reduce it to $3.99. That's probably
Well, they
gonna
were,
be.
they were saying that, but it had to be, you have to discuss and see what hours and flexibility and things that are happening, because it's starting to really, like get busy over there with the different people that are coming through. Like today, we had a professional rugby team there, and so they're really using the space for a lot of different things now. And they had a basketball tournament this past weekend. So the dates are kind of going fast, but our event possibly would be in the Betty Carter Auditorium. So, but I would check. I would, reach back out to Mahmood
Yep.
because I did mention it to him, so, and to have actual dialogue is kind of good.
Yeah. Yeah. We should just get on a call instead of doing emails.
Hi, everyone. I may have a suggestion. Well, sorry, I'm a little late. I meant to get there a little earlier. This is Nick Almanor. Have you guys ever considered Wingate Park and the Wingate High School campus?
Sorry, which park, which high school?
Wingate, my
Oh,
alma
Wingate.
mater.
Wingate.
Wingate Park.
I thought you said Windy Park. I was like, I've never heard of
No,
that.
no, Wingate.
Wingate, got you. And Wingate Park and high school. Where is Wingate exactly?
Kingston and Winthrop and Watland. That's on the edge of that district. A little bit further.
That's a good space. I've used that already. But I've used inside, but they got good outside also.
Hmm.
Well, they just repaired the yard and the basketball. It's basically brand new. Last time I was there, Zelno Meyer at the New York Nets came in and do a clinic there for young kids.
Does anybody have a, that sounds awesome. Does anybody have a connection at Wingate?
What I know about it is that once before it used to be one school and you would speak to one person, but it is divided. I'm talking about inside. It's divided among a lot of different schools, and you got to speak to a lot of different principals if you want to what. Don't discard that that's another school. But they do have the cafeteria is moderately and the outside, if we could, because you can walk from the cafeteria right outside.
Correct. Well, I went to school there. So that's okay. I graduated from there in 75. So that's a long time ago. But most of these campuses are what we call a campus manager that handles the large spaces, which is at the common spaces, the gym, the cafeteria. So you only address that one person and the custodian.
Okay, so I'll reach out to the district office and see if they have a connection
Right.
to the.
Well, this is a high school district, and most of it is also managed from Staten Island. I have a name and a number of the person in charge for that. I could always share that with you. Okay.
Yeah, sounds good. Shoot it over via email.
I do have a contact in Staten Island that could help. Well, Wingate is Wingate in our CB9 district?
Yes, because we go all the way to Utica Avenue.
Okay, because I know there's another school that's very big. It's PS 109, but it's all there. It's got good facilities, but I don't know. That might be a little bit too far for us and out to our district. Because I
Yeah.
think that's
Because I know you want to attract some of the high school students, so that's
Yeah.
one of the
Yeah.
But also, the former chair of the Park Recreation have Friends of Wingate that does a lot of activity there.
Yes, that's right, Mr. Alamar. Didn't want to say that.
Well, I'm not afraid to say it. Okay. Well, she's a good person. So we
Yeah,
can reach out to her. She does a lot of activity there. She's a very nice person. She's a very good person. So we gotta reach out to her. Okay?
What's her name again?
It's Vivian Morgan.
Vivian.
Vivian Morgan. Vivian.
Yep, okay.
Vivian's a good person.
Vivian is a good person. So let's keep Wingate as a potential second option. I think we should still kind of honor the offer that Flatbush Beacon made. So like, let's explore and see if Flatbush Beacon has an outdoor space available. If they do, it's great. We've worked with them in the past, and it's a familiar ground for a lot of our students. If it can't work with Flatbush Beacon, I would probably want to pursue Wingate as a second option. And on the side, we can also talk to major RONs, just so we have kind of multiple options that are being pursued at the same time. So I think I can handle that follow-up. And for now, we know that we have a budget available, but I think let's not talk about the budget until we actually have a location in mind, because different locations are going to come with different needs from a budgetary perspective. And for now, unfortunately, I think we just kind of need to talk to venues, try to find an outdoor space, try to find a date that works in that kind of first 2 weeks of May, and a little bit kind of sit on our hands and see what happens with the larger health environment. So I know that it's frustrating. It's frustrating for me. I'm sure that it's frustrating for some of y'all as well, to just kind of have our hands tied at the moment. But I think it is the right decision. I appreciate everyone, voicing their opinions. Naomi, I wanted to make sure that you were able to share any opinions that you have. Hello, or ask any questions that you might have, since you've so gratefully given us your time. So please hop in if you have any questions or thoughts.
I think my sound is a little unstable or delayed, so I'll give myself 5 minutes until it tells me I'm unstable again. But I want to know, because I was listening in, but I wasn't really sure. Are you having a high school event? Is that what you're talking about? Mommy, we are on your meeting?
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly. So our youth services event each year is for kids basically 16 to 24. And so we can go as low as 14. We basically want to host a job fair, and it's hard for middle school kids or elementary school age kids to get a job fair, because you need to have a work permit, which you need to be above a certain age in order to do that. And so, yeah, we're primarily looking at kind of high school students.
Oh, okay. Because I was just wondering, because like right now I'm PTA president for PS21, and I was talking, the name of the school is Toussaint Louverture, which is such a prominent person in history that a lot of people don't know about. So I was thinking that in the elementary school, since we have such a big Haitian population, that there's not a lot of resources in talking Creole or knowing Creole or even knowing about certain things. So I was just interested in what you were talking about earlier, and then about anything that you have for elementary and junior high school kids, because elementary usually gets a lot of I don't want to say props, sound kind of really community-ized, but I mean, they get a lot of attention, but a lot of junior high school kids don't get a lot of attention because they're right in the middle. They're not little kids, they're not big kids. And it's unfortunate because they don't, they're not a population that really get recognized, and they have a lot of things that's going on. It's a lot of hormones, a lot of learning about yourself, a lot of things about that nature. So I just wanted to add that, and hopefully see if maybe me listening in, because I'm not on the, I'm a part of the community board, but I'm not on the committee, but just to make aware of some of the things that might be able to be helpful or assist. And I'm also on the CEC17. So if you need any assistance with the Community Education Council, I will gladly help or support in that, where we can coincide with each other. And last but not least, middle school applications started today. So it's from now till I think February. Don't quote me, but I know it started today. So if
March.
anybody has thank you. Anybody who has children who are going to middle school or are interested in, they do have the application process starting right now. So just to make parents or anyone aware that's watching this, to let them know. So thank you for letting me talk in my unstable computer.
You were pretty stable. I only lost you for a few seconds there. And what I would say is, first of all, thank you for, bringing all of your expertise and your connections to bear. I think that it would be super great for you to connect with the education committee. There's kind of like two different bodies at CB9 that deal with youth. And so one is youth services, which does like 16 to 24. And then the education committee deals with students who are younger. And so Mia, can you remind me who the chair is, or is it currently still unchaired, the education committee? All right, well, Mia's doing stuff, but I'll make sure to get you the name of the education committee's lead, because people should learn about Toussaint Louverture, and people should definitely know about that application process. But we don't have connections to middle schools just by function of us working with an older population. But I think that the education committee, who has historically done great work, would be the perfect group for you to connect with. So I'm just making a note to make sure that you get connected with them. And
now I love the high school kids too. Now, don't get me wrong. If I find out some information, I sure will pass it along.
please do. We're always here, ready for your information. Sol, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I noticed. So we can't chat in here, because I definitely wanted to talk to Naomi a little bit more. And I'm also on the education committee. It is chaired, and I see her face, but I completely am blanking out on her name of the chairperson there. But it is chaired right now.
Sorry, the education and library chair is Melanie Lewis.
There you go. Yes, thank you. I was like blanking out on her name completely. But yeah, definitely. But I think that, definitely, we were just, I'm also on that committee. So they were talking about doing like a book drive, or since everything's kind of going a little bit crazy with the virus and stuff, I was saying if we had to do something virtual, like one of my suggestions was maybe do a read along where we could read books. And, we talked about like also doing a spelling bee. And I was like, well, maybe we should be showing the Kill and the Bee first so kids can know what that is, but the schools are a little bit overwhelmed. So there's a lot of different things going on. There's a lot of different, There's a lot of different things going on with that committee, and I like doing both because we're hitting different populations, but still all youth, which is my passion. So I don't know if there's a way for us to connect with each other. If there's a way for us to connect with each other, if there's no chat function, Primo.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just thinking y'all should have each other's email addresses, but I could be wrong. I sent an email right before this to the group, but I don't know that Naomi was on it. So I can just fire off a quick email introducing the two of you via email, if that's okay.
Yeah, please do. Because I wanted to know more about the CEC or the education committee stuff, because I'm just learning about this since I've been a part of this, what that is and what the function of it is.
I got it. Naomi, I can't find your email address for some reason.
I don't mind sharing. It's Queen Mo, QUEENMO 618 @gmail.com.
Okay, cool. I'm firing off just a quick little email to connect you to, and y'all should let me know if you get it.
I'm gonna have to go if you can't. Sorry, guys. I got to mute
I sure will. No, because like right now, what Sol was saying that I'm the PTA president for PS 221, and we do have in a couple of months we will be having it's not a read along, we'll be having like a story night or a movie night. So if you wanted to with us, we can, you know, we can talk about that later where we can come in conjunction and you can come in and be our movie night, if that's what you want. But you know, like we'll talk later
Definitely.
about some youth stuff because I as well, I'm passionate about the youth, and I think that with especially with the teenagers 16 and above, they do need a lot of necessary things that are not available to them to make them what's the word I want to use, credible citizens, or functional citizens, or just better people in general. Because when you're 16, you're trying to find yourself, and sometimes depending on where you go, you don't find yourself at all until you're 40. But that's another conversation for another day.
Yes, and that's exactly what we're here to do, is just give more resources, more guidance to kids in the community. Unfortunately, you know, COVID would have it otherwise at this moment. And while schools are overwhelmed and you know, kids and parents and everyone is kind of overwhelmed, it sucks that like we need to make this choice to kind of postpone things. But I think it is the choice that is most respectful of kind of the larger situation, as well as the people that we'd be looking to engage. So I've got my marching orders in terms of the kind of the different folks that I'm going to reach out to and look out to May. And trying to get an outdoor space, and we're going to reconnect in a month and we'll see how things are going, because the world will surely be different a month from now. But I just want to say thank you to all of you, first of all, for showing up, for brightening my day and for brightening my night. It's been so nice to see you and to hear your voices, and to just be reassured of your commitment to, you know, this body and the kids in the neighborhood. So we'll talk again in a month, and I'll put in a little bit of work on kind of trying to lock down a location outdoors in May, and we'll go from there. Okay. So thanks for your time, and thanks for working with us, and for your patience. And I hope that everyone stays healthy and stays happy, and that you and your families are doing all right.
And I love your plants. I love your plants, Primo. Very, very, very
Primo.
exotic behind you. I love them. I love it.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Thank you. Happy New Year, everyone.
Yeah, thank you so much, Primo.
Yes.
Thanks,
Oh,
Primo.
Thanks,
Talicia,
everyone.
I owe you an email, Talicia. I know that. Okay. I'll send
Okay,
you.
no problem.
Yeah,
Thank
keep it posted. Okay.
All right.
All right, good night.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye.